Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeff Leach and I am a whore. I'm the stopover guy, I'm the affair, I'm the one night of passion, I'm the night of adventure. Have a look around this room, right? This is the number of people that I have slept with. I'm the kind of guy who has sex in the toilet after a gig with a stranger. Well, you're laughing it up, lady, but it could be you tonight, you know, so...
I'm a ladies' man, and to be honest, a pretty successful one.
I've had sex with more than my height in women.
Sometimes sleeping with them at a rate of over 10 a week.
I don't know the number of people you've been with, but...
It's over 300.
Oh, my God.
But now I'm on a mission to change. I want to see if I can handle a committed relationship.
It's an unattractive quality to be a slag.
I need to find out where I've been going wrong.
Do you think I ever showed a vulnerability when I was spending time with you?
No.
No.
So I'm going to ask my exes, with the help of my spreadsheet of past lovers.
Basically, I've got rid of the drink and drug, Jeff.
Good, because he was a dickhead.
Hopefully I'll learn some home truths.
I don't want to say that you're selfish, but I think you are.
And get to grips with my problem.
This process is proving to be a lot more difficult than I thought it would be.
To find out if I can ever become a one-woman man.
What's wrong with me? It's a sexy room. Hey guy, where are we? We're in the sexy room.
I'm Jeff. I'm 27 years old, and when it comes to the fairer sex, I simply can't say no.
Sexy? You know, sexy. You know.
Well, we've got candles and soap, so at least we'll smell nice and be clean in the morning. Good times. Little bit bloody vain, that Jeff Leach. Arrogant, actually. He's fucking out. Look at him out there. Who does he think he is? Bottom half of Russell Brand's, you know, top half of a skinny Danny Dyer. Overall look of a gothic Tintin.
You'd think with my track record with the ladies, I'd be happy. But I'm not.
At the end of the night, most people will go home, jump on the tube, get in their car, go back to their abodes and see their loved ones. But some people are always left. For instance, look, this lovely group of people over here. 2 ladies, a gentleman, they're just hanging out, enjoying each other's company. Why do I feel the need to view it completely differently? Why do I not see what everyone else sees? You want to know what I see? I'll show you. This is how I actually see the world. Look, the guys aren't even here. They don't even register on my psyche. The ladies are all semi-clad because I see every single one of them as a potential sexual adventure. How you doing? You all right? It makes me miserable. It tires me out. It makes me feel vacuous and shallow, and ultimately, very lonely.
Now I'm moving towards 30. My friends are getting married and settling down. I'm realising I can't go on like this forever.
Please, a warm welcome right now for the very funny Jeff Leach, everybody.
In my profession, there's just too many opportunities to meet women.
You right? How's it going? Ah, you look brilliant. You look at all your happy faces. Are you looking at my face on the cards? This is the real thing, baby. Fucking, all right, that's for when you go home and you lay next to your boyfriend and go, oh, just get that card out. That's...
You've slept with a lot of my friends.
Not a
So
lot.
within her world, yeah, within her milieu.
Not a lot.
More than most. Yeah.
More than most of her friends, so that's almost all.
4?
Because like, this is part of our world, isn't it? You come off stage and there's girls that are attracted to you because you're a funny comic.
They've spent so much time being that for this specific 20 minutes, they're attracted to that, which isn't real. It's this illusion that you build and make really good.
Who am I? Yeah. That's what I need to work out. Who am I? Am I a whore? Or maybe that performance is what people expect of me. They expect the whore, so that's what I give them.
So will I ever be able to leave this sex-fueled lifestyle behind and manage to commit myself to one girl? Who better to ask than my ex-lovers? And with the embarrassing total of 300 plus...
Highest sex directory, is it?
Maybe it's just as well that I've kept a note of them all. Yeah, keeping a list. How classy.
When I started having, you know, full proper sex with ladies,
I started to write the names of the girls that I'd slept with on a little piece of paper, probably to show off a little bit. It was kind of like, yeah, look at me, I'm a real man. And then I started to input that information onto an Excel spreadsheet. They range from fleeting encounters to 2-year very open relationships spread across the world. There's no scores, it's no rating, it's nothing like, you know, this girl was a 5 out of 5 or whatever. It's not that crass. It was simply a way of documenting every single woman that I'd ever slept with. I kind of have this long list now. With a list of more than 300, where better to start than with my first true love? So this is Amy, my first love. I was 19 and I was living in New Zealand working at a radio station over there, and she was one of the top DJs at this radio station, and it was love at first sight, really. Thanks to the magic of the internet, everyone is just a quick Facebook search away.
Oh no, she lives in Doha. Where's Doha?
Getting back in touch with someone who represents so much pain seems like madness, but I need answers.
She will certainly have things of a critical and negative nature to say about me, but hopefully some positive things as well. And also she'll be able to talk about what she thinks I'm capable of in the future.
I did have my heart broken by my first love, right? So badly, right? I was on my knees at 2:30 in the afternoon as people were going for their lunch break in Auckland, and I'm crying my eyes out, crying so hard, begging her not to leave me that I can't form words or sentences anymore. Just... What? You deserved it. Why are you crying so hard that the snot from my nose and the spit from my mouth had joined together in a bungee cord of pure misery? One of those heartbreaks. Women, can I say, like, I am probably a whore because I am terrified of you. I am terrified of you.
So I printed out my list. And I'd like to kind of place them upon a blank canvas so I can look at the reality of what I'm letting myself in for. That looks all right. That's probably about double the average amount for a man of my age, an idiot of my age. That's me being selfish and greedy. Page 3. That's 6 men's allowances of ladies that I have pathetically worked my way through.
There have been the odd occasions I've been a naughty boy, but on the whole, I practice safe sex.
So it's literally, I've had sex with more than my height in women. It's like a pendulum of sexual misery. Oh, no. It doesn't even want to move. Just like most of my relationships don't want to move. Part of me is mildly proud of it. The human part of me thinks I'm a bellend. Why would one person need to sleep with that many women? Hopefully I'll find out.
So tell me, have you ever really ever loved a woman?
Apparently, the average British man has had 13 sexual partners, and women just 7. I'm pretty much off the scale.
The realisation I've had is that my attitude towards sex and the way I behave is just not normal. You know, having sex with a 57-year-old or so woman just because she gave you a lift home after a comedy gig is not how normal people behave. You know, jumping out of a window after having sex with a young lady because you realise you freaked out at the prospect of having sex with 4 or 5 women that day is not normal. Being late for meetings at work because you have to self-romance for that 3rd time in a row is not normal. And ultimately, once it starts going from 10s to 20s to 50s to hundreds upon hundreds of women, you've got to face up to the reality and sort yourself out.
So my journey begins. I'm going to meet Nicola, number 161 on my spreadsheet.
You sort of knew me when I was very much still within my selfish behaviour. I remember I was DJing at that point
in a festival, summer break festival.
Yeah, in UK.
In UK. Basically just living a life of
You were.
debauchery, including picking up 19-year-old student girls on the beach.
Yeah.
I imagine I was a bit of an arse,
You were.
because I wasn't, I was quite selfish at that time.
Very selfish. Made me very uncomfortable
Really?
on many occasions, yeah. Jeff did what Jeff wanted to do. So Jeff wanted to have sex and Jeff had sex. Twice now, you've just followed me into the toilet. And then you'd lock the door. And like, it's very attractive because the girls, generally, if you like a bad boy, you like that. But no other man has ever had the balls to just follow into the toilet. Because what happens if I screamed or I pushed you out? You just come in and lock the door.
I've had a lot of sex in toilet cubicles, ladies and gentlemen, I won't lie to you. But in fact, I've actually had so much sex in ladies' toilets, I started getting in trouble with the management for turning up late. You know, I don't work here. Then why are you handing out hand towels? I like to clear up my own mess.
I don't know the number of people you've been with, but...
It's over 300.
Oh, my God.
Does that shock you?
I'm not shocked because it's you, but that is a huge amount.
Really? Is that not normal?
No, Jeff, it's not. It's just not normal. What? But why do you... Why? Because I'm not that bothered.
Loneliness, I think. Looking for affection.
But sex does not replace a relationship.
I used to make it very much, you're here to fill in some time for me, which is awful, isn't it?
That's horrible.
I
It
know.
makes me feel like a... That's horrible to hear.
None of the girls I've ever slept with, I don't think, have just been a number.
Yeah, but they have, haven't they, though? Because there's 300, you know, you can't be emotionally connected to all you
No,
were.
you're right. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're also just a number, like a tick on a box.
Well,
It's
what
like-
are they then? Experience for you?
Yeah, momentary experiences of
What about
of
her?
feeling.
What about me? What about
Yeah,
girls?
yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing. That's why you're here. I don't want you to feel guilty, but what about me? Okay, you bastard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Well, Nicola didn't pull too many punches, but perhaps none of it's that wide of the mark.
I've had sex in a bar down there, rock and roll bar and crow bar, and the toilet's there. I've had sex in some offices there in the toilet, someone I used to work with. I've had sex in Carnaby Street with 3 different women. I've had sex in the toilets there. Once actually in the toilets, once behind the DJ booth. That's fucked up. I don't want to die on my own or surrounded by lots of women that I have absolutely no genuine, committed, monogamous relationship with. And I also want to be a dad. Who's going to want to have a kid by a complete slag?
I'm starting to see how limiting my lifestyle has become. No matter how hard it is, I need to make this process work.
No one wants to bump into their exes. The whole premise of this show is I'm actively seeking out people that might have quite a negative view of the end of a relationship that I was in. And I'm going to try and see as many of those as possible. It's like everyone's worst nightmare, really, isn't it? Except I'm embracing it. I live for the nightmare.
This next girl is my longest relationship. We hooked up every few weeks or so over a period of 2 years.
Hello.
Hey,
How you doing?
thank you.
Number 207, Claire.
It's weird, isn't it? You got a coffee?
Thanks.
How you doing?
I'm all right, thank you.
I've probably slept with almost 300 women or so now. I know. That's not. I'm not looking for an applause. Why? I don't see this as a positive thing. I see this as like a problem. Because, like you say, people don't go, oh yeah, you're definitely a guy I could settle down with. Because they go, no, you're a massive man slag.
That's really sad.
It is.
It is quite sad.
Yeah, which is why I'm doing this bloody program, because I want to get to the heart of it a little bit. If you imagine you were talking to one of your girlfriends or to one of your mates who doesn't know me, they went, oh, what was Jeff Leach? What was that whole thing about, you and him? What was that about?
I was just talking about sex, probably.
Sex. So it was just sex-based, really, for the most part.
I mean, there's part of me, obviously there's the very red-blooded male part of me, the old school Neanderthal that's going, oh, yeah, that's good at sex stuff, thank you very much, that's very nice. And then there's the other part of me that's the hopeless romantic that's going, I was nothing more than a penis to you.
I am that stopover guy, you know, the guy that you have in between a proper boyfriend and another proper boyfriend. For instance, ladies, if you have a nice pair of shoes and they break, you don't wait and walk around barefoot for a week before you buy another nice pair of shoes. You know at the back of the cupboard, you've got that pair of slutty heels you can throw on. I am those slutty heels.
I didn't think you'd be able to be a good boyfriend or whatever, and I didn't want to go there.
So it was more like, I like him more than friends and lovers, but I actually don't want to be in a relationship right now, so I need to stay away from him.
Want to be in a relationship with you.
Yes, you need to stay with me. Why do you think? I'm interested. Well, this is what I want to find out. This is what this whole thing is about. Is about how do people view the prospect of a relationship with me, and will I ever be able to have a committed relationship?
I don't know. I wouldn't think you would. I don't know.
Be capable of changing.
Yes. Well, I don't think I'd be able to satisfy you as a girlfriend and keep your attention and stuff like that. And also, if you cheated on me or anything, it would destroy me. So I just wouldn't
So it's easier not to run that risk. Yeah, I get that. That was upsetting to feel like, how many opportunities have I had of that in the past, where women have gone, rather than tell him that I like him to that extent, I'd rather just push him away in order to protect myself. Clearly, I'm a long way off boyfriend material. What is the secret? I'm going to see some friends who've just bought their first house. Maybe they can help.
Are you married, fella?
We were childhood sweethearts.
Really?
She was 15 and I was 16.
Bloody hell. How did you know she was the one then?
I don't know, just when I met her, you know, I was with another girl and sort of dumped the other girl and that was it. Went with her and it's been like that ever since, 4 kids later.
There you go. See, because I struggle with the idea of, you know, a single relationship, committed relationship. You got used to the idea from a young age of being committed to someone and being with someone, whereas I got used to the idea of just having sex with as many people as possible. You know, and so it's hard to break a habit, really, isn't it?
Well, it depends if you want to break it, I suppose, isn't it?
Yes. No, you're right. That is basically the crux of the argument, isn't it? It's you have to want to do it to make a change.
My friends Sophie and Dino are managing a faithful relationship. So what's stopping me?
Toast, you got a toast. I don't know. I want to have what you guys have. You know, like a genuine committed relationship where I can fall in love with someone and not fuck it up when I actually want to commit to them.
Man, you have to work hard for that, huh?
It takes some time to renounce to freedom and independence. I mean, it was a very gradual process.
I'm envious of that relationship that you have. I am.
Well, you can have it. I mean, if you want it, you can have it. It's just that you have to invest some on that.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to be more patient.
You think I rush? I want everything to happen straight away.
Because it takes a lot of time to, you know, really discover the other person.
Yeah.
Dino and I were flatmates, and I think it helped a lot that we're living together.
Yeah.
It's also good because then you know what you get.
If I keep going out and sleeping with, you know, lots of different girls and giving my affection to lots of different girls, you spread yourselves too thin if you do that, like me. You know, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going, well, I start as a friend with one person, then build it up.
You've got a lot of opportunities, and the job that you do, I mean, you know, DJ, stand-up comedian, all these things, it's kind of, you know, a fantasy for girls, and it lures a lot of, you know, girls wanting to know you, wanting to be with you. So, of course, you've got a lot of temptation.
And the problem is that I can't say no.
You'll have to renounce to some of this, you know, success and pleasures for the special one. To your promising future and promising relationship, I'm sure.
And my non-promiscuous future, maybe.
We believe you can do it.
And just a gigolo, and everywhere I go, people know the part I'm playing.
So I need to learn to resist temptation. The problem is, I'm out every night meeting new women. Like Emma, number 252. We met at a comedy club and were lovers on and off for 4 months. I want to hear what she thinks, but first, there's some unfinished business.
Right. No, we won't talk about that now because it's not relevant to the programme.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
I know. I only found out afterwards. I was like, oh my God, you slept with like 1, 2, maybe 3 of my mates. 2. Really, like, comedy mates. And it really bothered me because then I started to think that you were just a jokey. And I was like, oh, no, she's a gag-ag. And like, I was just like another tick on the list of,
But what,
well, he's another young comedian.
what bothered
And that
me
really
about
upset me.
it was first time I saw you live, you made a joke about having had sex with one of the girls in the front row, and there was actually two of them sat quite close to each other in the front row, and they got so angry at you. Don't you remember that?
I made a joke about one girl, she was being really drunk and really rude and would heckle me. And I said, oh, for fuck's sake, just because I slept with your sister, you know, and I had slept with her sister. And she just shut up and they both looked at each other. But the sister knew, obviously. And that was horrendous, yeah. That was horrendous.
That was my first impression
So I'm
of
actually,
Jeff
I'm a
Leach.
massive fucking hypocrite as well.
Yeah.
Horrendous hypocrite.
So I'm on a list too. I'm not sure if I like the sound of that. What else can I learn from Emma?
The whole time that we were sort of seeing each other, I don't feel like I knew you at all, really. And I think I've maybe got like tiny little glimpses of it occasionally. And as soon as you start to realise, oh, hang on, that's
Yeah.
actually Jeff Leach in there, it's gone again.
Yeah.
When you're being yourself, you're actually quite a nice person. But you spend so much time trying to be like Jeff Leach, someone else, like to everyone else, when actually you only need to do that when you're on stage.
I struggle with the idea that people saying to me, and you've said it, and you're not the first person saying it, I'm sure you won't be the last, going, well, we don't really know who the real Jeff is. I feel like it's a performance. But sometimes that frustrates me, because I go, well, this is fucking me.
But
yeah, but then there's also...
any like girl that actually genuinely loves you and genuinely wants to be in a relationship with you will accept that part of you, but will also sometimes want just a little bit of you to herself.
Softer, the vulnerable side of me. I don't like being vulnerable, though.
Sometimes you have to be.
Yeah,
If you
but
want somebody-
it terrifies
If you
me.
want somebody to love you, then you're going to have to want them to look after you occasionally, and assume that when you are opening up to them, they're not just going to laugh at you, kick you in the balls and run off.
Yeah, that's why I'm terrified of that vulnerability.
You can't live every single relationship on how other people have treated you in the past. Like, everyone has issues.
Do you think Jeff's happy?
That's difficult. You can't ever imagine just sitting in bed with him while he reads a book and you're on your laptop. That just will never happen. If you're in bed with Jeff, you're having sex. If you're not, then you're his friend. It's weird.
I have to face the reality that more than one of these ladies have said, we don't feel like we've got the vulnerable side of you. Just little snippets of that, but mostly it's just the confident Jeff, the stage show, as it were. And I've known that I'm like that, but I think the reason for it has always been fear.
A fear of being hurt like I was by my first love, who left me heartbroken and crying in the street.
And then today, I actually received an email from my first love, from Amy, and she's answered the questions that I sent through to her, so I'll read the answers now. How would you describe the relationship we had? I asked her. She said, based on the time you were in New Zealand, it was short, mostly fun, and very intense. And she said the intensity became too much for me. In turn, I was a complete bitch to you, to try and give myself some breathing space, I guess.
Who here has been in love? Give me a woo. Good. Who here has had their heart broken? Who here has asked a partner not to leave them? Oh, fuck off, really? Just me, yeah? I'm afraid you're the only sad one, Jeff. All right, chill out.
I said, what do you think about my list? And she goes, unforgettable intimate experiences are ... unforgettable. You've kept a register so that you don't miss the forgettables when you review your archive of conquests. Be honest about it now, Jeff, winky face. And she's right. There's an OCD and collective quality to what I want to do. And it is documenting, look, I've done this, or I've done that, or I've done this, or and I hate to use that phrase, done, but that is literally what it is. It's a list of have-dones, isn't it? How can I not got it right after 300 plus women? You know? Am I learning anything in each of those experiences, or do they mean nothing?
I'm going to have to start learning from my past.
Lingle, lingle, lingle. Hello.
Hi.
I did my own bell sound. You like that?
Good.
So next up, number 175, Claire, who organises burlesque events.
How have you been?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, thanks. Can I sit?
Yeah, sure.
I love your shop. It's amazing.
Yeah.
She deals in fantasy, but I'm here for a reality check.
Yeah, I did think when you first said to me, when you called your ladies, the women you are with, lovers, it was quite interesting because it does make it more than just a It makes it more of a personal thing that you have with them, but it isn't really. It's just, it is exactly the same. I think you just call it a lover to kind of make it more than it is.
Do you think I ever showed a vulnerability when I was spending time with you?
No.
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 How do you think I start the process of allowing myself to be vulnerable? An honest
Just spend
question.
a lot of time with somebody. I suppose. Just spend all your time with them at all your points. Like when you're feeling kind of happy or sad, or when you've done something really stupid and you're still talking to them, or when you've upset them. Basically just time.
You've hit the nail on the head. I think that's the reality. By limiting my time with individual lovers, by seeing a girl one night and making her feel like she is my world, which she is when I'm with her, and then not seeing her for 2-3 weeks or a month or whatever, or, you know, then I distance, I'm allowed to distance myself. You know what I've done to myself and lied in the past is that I've thought that if I do that with a girl enough times, eventually she'll start going, oh, he is showing me that side, and it will become something real. But I think I've been a bit naive there, because unless you show that woman that you're committing to her, and like you say, invest in the time, it basically counts for nothing to some extent, doesn't it?
You think you're giving them more than that, then you're wrong. You need to stop thinking like that.
You might as well just get a vibrator, really, because they got settings.
Vibrator doesn't buy you dinner.
Oh, Jesus. I think the main thing that I walked away from Claire's conversation was the fact that I'm always limiting myself on how much I can give to a woman, how much they can get from me, because of the time that I give to them. So spend no time with anyone, well, how are they ever going to get close to you?
When I'm walking down the street, they say, hey, sexy. Hey, sexy. When I'm dancing,
So am I a guy who just loves sex? Or is there more to it than that?
I'm driving in my car, or I'm standing at the bar. It don't matter where I are, they say, hey, sexy.
It's quite simple. Questionnaire. Am I a sex addict? So, should answer some questions. So question number 1, does your sexual behaviour have a negative impact on other areas of your life, such as relationships, work, finances, health and professional status? That's a yes. Have you tried to limit your sexual behaviour or stop it altogether but failed? Yeah, I have tried to do that when I've been in relationships. It didn't work out. Yeah, yes. Yes, that's definitely true. Yeah.
How do you know you're a sex addict, right? You know, the lascivious behavioural patterns I had. Yes, yes, you know. And I don't mind admitting to you, ladies and gents, like most new things I meet in life, I nailed it.
So that would be 12 out of 12 yeses.
Get sexy right now. Get sexy right now.
Probably need some help, really.
If I'm a sex addict, then I'm not alone. 6% of the UK population are apparently keeping me company. I have arranged to get a professional opinion, so a meeting with Paula Hall, sexual and relationship psychotherapist.
Basically, sex addiction is any sexual behaviour that feels out of control.
Okay.
If you're acting out in a sexual way and you don't really know what you're getting out of it anymore, you don't really know why you're doing it, you're quite often regretting that you've done it again, but you keep on doing it, then chances are you're probably an addict.
Even though I was knackered and I had to get up at 6 to film, I would go, oh, well, no, I'll spend that extra hour and a half having sex with a girl that ultimately is just going to tire me out, make me more miserable the next day because I'm knackered. I might find myself late for meetings. I'll turn up 20 minutes late, and the reason was because I had to fit in another wank.
Right. It doesn't matter whether it's lots of one-night stands, multiple affairs, visiting sex workers, looking at pornography, masturbating to pornography, whatever. It's not actually what you do, it's the relationship to it. You are dependent on it, and it is getting in the way of other things that are important in your life.
Yeah.
So the dopamine receptors in your brain get used to a certain level of high. So somebody who is continually feeding their dopamine system is going to get more bored than other people.
Yeah.
But the only way that you can actually change that is to actually change your lifestyle so that eventually...
Does it eventually gradually come back down?
Yeah, your dopamine actually begins to recalibrate. Some people recommend you need at least a 90-day abstinence from any sexual activity whatsoever, and you've got to find ways of self-soothing that are healthy. and learn to love yourself and live in your own company. And there is still a real, sad, desperate, love me, love me, love me, little script going on.
I never do it in that
still.
voice, you know, I find that adds to the neediness, if anything.
Celibacy is a terrifying and terrible word, right? For most people, even for you guys who don't have sex with, 300 plus women, you probably think, oh, celibacy, oh, no thanks. I'd rather just not have sex.
I remember up until the age of 7 or 8 being very happy with my family. I remember going on holidays and, my dad put me on his shoulders and my mum walking along and them getting along. And then actually, from that age on, from about 7 or 8 on, all I remember is them arguing. And I wonder whether there's an element of me that thinks, well, I've seen how miserable some committed relationships can be, so I don't want to put myself through that.
So actually a lot of your sexual behaviours, by the sound of it, is actually about intimacy regulation. You use it to kind of keep out of a relationship to a certain extent. You don't, by continually having multiple relationships, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
It's that old devil called love again.
It feels good to actually be diagnosed as an addict. Someone scientifically saying, look, you have got a problem with sex and love addiction. As Paula said, there is only one way to rectify any addiction, which is to ultimately give up the thing that you're addicted to for a period of time, go through a period of abstinence. So I'm going to become celibate, which is terrifying. I'm going to have a hell of a lot of free time on my hands, I guess.
But I've had an idea to keep me busy. I'm going to deal with this situation the best way I know how, through comedy. I'm going to put on a stand-up gig based on everything I'm learning for friends, family and ex-lovers.
Swift journey, little envelopes. Ultimately, I think the gig's going to actually be quite cathartic. It'll be an important way to assess everything that I'm learning as I go on this journey, and it'll be a nice way to kind of conclude the healing process.
So back to the list. What is being with a certified sex addict really like?
Having random sex in bathrooms and, we slept with each other and then we had a massive fight.
I don't want to say that you're selfish, but I think you are.
The list is because I want to remember each of those experiences.
I know, but I was number 131 and there was 10 more added in the 2 weeks.
After one day you were like, yeah, I've got shit to do, bye.
It's so funny, I've talked to you and I talked to another girl who I just didn't even realise the extent to which I've hurt people.
But I'm not out there hurting people anymore. I'm at home, being a good boy.
It's proven to be quite difficult. All these ex-lovers have been hitting me up and, hey, my God, hey, Bean, what's going on? Lift me up. I've had to just say no. I've had to say, I can't do it. I like to fucking have a real relationship for once. But right now, my penis, underneath there, he's like, let me at him. I've got so much to give the world. You haven't, you stop it. Shut up. No, you shut up. Basically, is how I'm feeling. Cha-ching. Hey, it's another girl. It's late at night. Who's texting me this time? It's gonna be a girl. Hey, you should come out and have a drink with me. And then, oh, drink? Oh, do you mean come back to my house and have sex times? Yeah, it's from a girl. I'm gonna go and sit in a cold bath of ice.
I don't think celibacy would actually be that hard if it was just a case of giving up sex and then walking away from it all. But when you've got the ex-lovers of yours sending you text messages, suggestive comments on Facebook, sending you photos of their naked breasts on a daily basis, it's like a drug addict getting phone calls from his dealer just going, hello, Barry, I've missed you. I've got some good stuff for ya. Can I pop round? What do you do?
Thankfully, there is one woman I'm allowed to visit, my mum.
Hello.
Oh, hi, darling.
I grew up here in Harrow, on the outskirts of London, with my sister and my parents, who have recently divorced after 35 years.
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
So what is this for? Jeff working out whether he can have a relationship.
And can he?
What do you think?
It's difficult. I mean, I wouldn't revisit another...
Ex-lovers?
No.
No, I would not.
Yeah, but you're
I
not,
thought
you're
about
not,
it
You're
because
not born like me. You've only had about 2.
I beg your pardon. That's not quite so. I didn't have any after Daddy. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't work like that. I mean, when I'm in a relationship, I'm in a relationship, and I said yes. So. Is he going to change you?
Well, it has already, yeah. I think I'm learning something. The lady made a really nice point, because I told her about when you and Dad used to sort of argue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got lost in my Terry Pratchett books. Like, I would religiously read them every single night, and then I'd have to read one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. And she said, well, you were doing the same thing then. That was an addictive...
Going into your fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. Or ignoring the real world, ignoring you two shouting at each other by reading a book. And it was that, but I had to read every single one of those books in a big long...
It's interesting. Did we shout a lot? We must have.
Every single night from the ages...
Really?
Yeah. Wow. That's a dark drawing, isn't it? That was... I remember that. I did that for you and Dad.
Is that me above you with those nasty eyes?
That's you and Dad, yeah. That picture sums up
I tell you what
how I felt quite a lot when I was younger.
What will be nice, and that is, you know, you bust in the lounge.
It completely ignores the real issues at hand throughout my life. That's the reality. You know, go and look at the nice one of you with your curtains. Look at this. This was a cry for help. You know what that was? That picture is it's frustration. I know that feeling. I can look at that picture and I can immediately identify that feeling. Immediately I can identify that feeling because I felt it so many years of that feeling of just being like.
I always felt loved by my family, but I have many childhood memories of hiding away in my bedroom to escape my parents' rows. Paula, my therapy, did it in my old bedroom.
It's long. Dear Jeff, as I made my journey home, I noticed that whilst there was a smile on my face as I thought about you, there was a really deep sense of sadness in my heart. I had witnessed and enjoyed a wonderful performance, but had I really met and seen Jeff Leach? As I reflected on the conversation, there was one image that kept haunting me. The 8-year-old Jeff, who was 1 minute riding aloft his father's shoulders with his mum at his side, and the rest was sat alone reading Terry Pratchett to drown out the screaming rows. I'm sure any boy of that age would have felt frightened, confused, sad, and very alone. I suspect that at the root of your addiction is that little boy, who's still not had a chance to have his feelings and needs heard. You will continue to drown out your fears with alcohol, drugs, or sex until you face them. So there's pretty much an 8-year-old me with a really cheesy smile. Stressed, that's what I think that kid feels. They would scream at each other for what seemed like hours. What actually upsets me and frustrates me about my situation, because I've always been aware that I have issues. It's not that I have things that hark back to my childhood, because I've always been aware of that. It's that despite I know all that, I still allow myself to do things